feel like I had it kind of easy. My drug of choice was heroin when I was out there, and just in the last 5 years, heroin doesn't exist anymore, and it's fentanyl. And fentanyl is a lot harder to get off of than heroin. The withdrawal times are longer and they're more severe. Fentanyl is in abundance. It's everywhere, it's cheap, it's plentiful, and it's causing so many more overdoses. But our detox centers and our insurance hasn't really caught up to that.
Here we are in Tacoma at the Washington State History Museum, and there's model trains all around us. The Puget Sound Model Railroad engineers have built this incredible array of 1950s model trains, and it is something to see. I love trains, and I think most people, no matter what age you are, love model trains. Be sure and visit here between Christmas and New Year's and bring the kids. This is an incredible location and a great place to visit. It truly is one of my favorite places. This is Science Hall in the Remembrance Day building in downtown Walla Walla. Preserved today for future generations. It's a location where farmers used to come to study science and how it would help them with agricultural products and development. Later on, it was determined that the first Constitutional Convention, our attempt to move from a territory to a state, would be held here. And the delegates gathered in 1878 during the summer month. They debated things like our public school system, what we would do about the development of agriculture, how about transportation. All those things are still subjects today. The Walla Walla Constitutional Convention passed a document in 40 days and then brought it to a vote of the people. The people voted for it, but the United States Congress rejected it. And just a few years later, in 1889, we did receive statehood from the United States Congress. But Walla Walla was the first. It's still one of my favorite places. Wow, this is impressive. We're here on the southern shores of Lake Union at Mohi, the Museum of History and Industry. For many years, this was the Naval Reserve Center and the armory for Navy uses here in Puget Sound country. And if you go up on the 4th floor, you'll see where they train young sailors to be skippers of the ship, because there weren't enough ships to trade on, so they used this building as an actual training location. It was the first command of many young sailors. Many museums concentrate on what happened after European settlers or Asian settlers came to the Pacific Northwest. But Mohi really concentrates on the people that were here before that as well. And their Native American stories and the learning experience about Native Americans is excellent here in this facility. Well, you've all heard about the B-17s and the B-29s and all the Boeing manufactured airships during the war, and then the commercial airplanes. But behind me is B-1, Boeing's first aircraft that he wanted to prove to the world that not only could people fly, it could fly commercially. It was an endeavor that would work, and carrying the mail and carrying passengers as well. Innovation that started in Seattle and remains in Seattle today. And look here, this is Slow-Mo 4, Seattle's favorite boat. We all remember, at least if you're my age, you certainly remember that first Gold Cup race in Seattle. She came out from under the bridge and the starting gun went off, and those Detroit guys were flabbergasted. She beat them hands down. Slow-Mo 4 will always be my favorite hydroplane. In some ways, the story of Washington State is also a story about beer. There were breweries in Longview and breweries in Vancouver and breweries in Tacoma and breweries in Seattle. Maybe the two most famous ones are the Olympia Brewery and the Rainier Brewery in Seattle. My great-grandfather was a barrel maker, that worked at the Rainier Brewery for many, many years. And the big R on the wall back there brings back lots of fond memories of the enjoyment we had on a Sunday afternoon sitting around the table enjoying a glass of Rainier beer. This facility has virtually millions of artifacts, historic documents, pictures, you name it, that talk about the story of our lives and the people that lived here before us. If you want to learn about Seattle's history and have a great day, come to Mohi and see these wonderful exhibits. It's not just a bunch of dusty old artifacts or relics, but it's about innovation and invention and how to get young people involved in making new decisions that'll make our community even better than it is now. When it's all said and done, Mohi, the Museum of History and Industry here in the South Shores of Lake Union, is one of my very favorite places. It's not very often that a small town like Winthrop, Washington, with less than 500 people, can afford a first-class museum, but they've got one here, and if you haven't seen it, you should. It's called the Schaefer Museum, and they've brought into this one location all kinds of equipment and household goods and old automobiles and pieces of the past from this part of the state. Here in the Methow Valley, it's probably one of the best collections of early Washington legend and lore that I've ever seen. The first Europeans that came into these valleys were trappers, and they were followed by prospectors looking for gold and silver. And then the settlers came, and they brought things like household goods and had a very difficult trip across the Columbia River and up here to the Methow. And later people arrived with the first automobiles and mechanized equipment. This community has gathered all those things and brought them together right here at the Schaefer Museum. It's an incredible collection and maybe one of the state's finest museums in many respects. It truly is one of my favorite places. Here in the little town of Nespelem on the Colville Indian Reservation, there's a remarkable memorial to Chief Joseph, probably one of the greatest military leaders of our nation. Vastly outnumbered by the United States Cavalry, and for 3.5 months he'd pick his location, stand and fight, and then retreat. Pick his location, stand and fight, and then retreat. He almost got his entire band of Nez Perce into Canada and freedom. When young men and women in the United States military go to West Point or to the War College, they never dream that they're going to learn about an Indian leader, but it's still taught today. Chief Joseph and his band of Nez Perce Indians taught us a whole new set of lessons about warfare. Chief Joseph was a remarkable military leader, and after the Indian Wars were over, he was assigned by the United States government and forced to live here in the Colville Reservation, and that's where he lived out his life. He's honored today by our military leaders, honored today by our civic leaders, and he's in every single history book. He was a remarkable leader and a very interesting part of our state's history. This truly is one of my favorite places. The question always comes up, where can you get the finest burger in Washington State? Who makes the best hamburgers? Well, I've tried them all. I've been to the Pickwick in Fife, the Iceberg in Walla Walla, the Lakeview at Lake Chelan, even to Fat Smitty's at Discovery Bay and Big Tom's here in Olympia. They're all good. So what's your favorite burger joint in Washington State? Well, I'll tell you this, they're all, every single one of them, my favorite places, my favorite burgers. Send us your nomination.
Support for My Favorite Places is provided by the Washington Hospitality Association and by Weatherly Inn, senior living where it's home and your family.
Today we're deep in the heart of the Yakima Valley in Prosser, Washington, at the Walter Clore Wine and Culinary Center, sponsored by the Port of Benton and Washington State University, as well as hundreds of wine growers across the state. It's a pleasure and a delight to see this beautiful location and to learn about its history. For decades, we've known that many fruits and vegetables would grow in the Yakima Valley. This was our fruit basket for this Pacific Northwest region. We could grow hops and peas and beans and lentils and apples and corn and you name it across the board. But nobody really thought much about wine. Walter Clore was a horticulturist hired at Washington State University in 1937. Walter Clore knew if he could find the right combination of soil, irrigation, seed, that he could grow vines that would produce tremendous wines. Many people scoffed. They said, well, it has to be in France, it has to be in California. But he stuck with it. And our legislature has named him the father of Washington wines. Today, a major industry in our state, the Washington wine industry, and it's growing every day. There's been now not just a few people, but hundreds of people involved. So Walter Clore is on our list today as one of those people to help move our state forward in the horticultural arena. This beautiful center brings people together for seminars, for meetings, and a teaching instrument for our Washington State University and the entire industry. In many ways, this is a classroom. This is a place where people can come and learn. They can visit the vineyards in the area. They can see and talk to real farmers who are doing the real work out there to make sure that we produce the finest grapes in the world, and then we can watch that wine produced and go to sale. So it's a great addition to our state and one that we're proud of, the Walter Clore Wine and Culinary Center in Prosser, Washington. It's one of my favorite places, and I hope you'll visit.
These children, these 6-month-old children, are crawling around and they're getting the foils from cooked fentanyl. These pills look like Skittles. A little girl, 2 years old, died, had so many of these fentanyl in her stomach they had never seen that many in a child's stomach. And knowing that this exists out there, we're doing nothing. This whole fentanyl crisis, if we don't get something happening soon, this is on the state.
What shocked me as I sat in recovery is the youth that were sitting there today. Those who were addicted when they were youth and young kids. And if you close your eyes and you hear these youth talking about having an SUD or an AUD or behavioral and mental health crisis, they're all Washingtonians. They weren't anything more than kids who come from places that they thought were safe homes.
you go to the State Fair in Puyallup, two things are on your mind. First, the taste of those tremendous cones. Let's go. Secondly, a ride on the roller coaster. This beautiful old coaster, built in the 1930s, now rebuilt a couple of times, it's still just as exciting and just as fun. I remember coming here, I think first in 1956 or 57, and the first thing we wanted to do was get in the line for the roller coaster. It was going to be the best ride we'd ever had. There's nothing like the roller coaster. I've been doing it since the 1950s. The roller coaster is one.
Is this to be held? Right where it is? That way? Thanks for your patience. Ready to roll. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your patience. My name is Dave Upthegrove, and I have the honor of serving as Washington State Commissioner of Public Lands. And in this role, I lead the State Department of Natural Resources and our 2,200 employees. And during fire season, we have more than 1,000 employees out responding to wildfires in this state. And today is National Wildland Firefighting Day. And I think we entered this day with heavy hearts, however, because on Sunday, 2 firefighters in Idaho, our neighbors, lost their lives when a man deliberately started a fire near Canfield Mountain, just outside the city of Coeur d'Alene, and then opened fire on those responders. And sadly, Battalion Chief John Morrison, as well as Kootenai from the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, as well as Kootenai County Fire and Rescue member Frank Harwood, lost their lives. And a third firefighter, Dave Tisdall, also from the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, was critically injured and is currently recovering. So before we get going, I'd invite folks to join me in just a moment of thoughts, or join me in sending prayers for peace for the families of those who were lost and for the recovery of the injured firefighter. If we can take just a moment. Thank you. Firefighters are a family. And when one agency suffers a painful loss like this, it's felt by firefighters around the country. And I know this was felt by our firefighters here locally, and our agency sends our support and sends our love to the families of those who were lost, and stand with our partner agencies in Idaho. Apart from having a deranged madman open fire, wildland fire response is already challenging enough. It's a dangerous job. People out in the woods, digging fire lines, running to the fire, and it's appreciated by the people of this state. And as we go into this fire season, we're facing some real challenges. We see budget cuts at the state level. We see a federal government that's laying off employees and creating chaos and uncertainty. But we're ready at the Department of Natural Resources. Thanks to strong partnerships with other agencies, we're already have begun fire season. We've had over 600 fires start already in Washington State that have already ignited, and 400 of those on state-owned public lands. And the real focus I want to drive home today is that one of the best ways we can honor these firefighters, those that we've lost and those that are putting their lives on the line, is to do our part to reduce the risk of wildfire, to prevent folks from having to go out and respond in the first place. We're heading into the 4th of July weekend, and as families prepare to barbecue and go camping and have fun together, this also often means fireworks. Last year in Washington State, fireworks caused 270 fires. And so as folks go into this weekend, let's have fun, but be safe with fireworks. That means if you're drinking alcohol, don't play with fire. It means supervise young people with fireworks. It means use them safely and legally in areas where they're designated. It also means if you're out camping, make sure your campfire is out cold to the touch. If you're hauling your boat or your RV, make sure you don't have a chain dragging that causes sparks on the dry grass, and be careful where you park your vehicles on dry grass. 4th of July weekend is a fun time. Let's not make it a dangerous one. The bottom line is this: don't be an idiot. Don't set the state on fire with your fireworks. We can have a fun, safe 4th of July. Let's enjoy our families. Let's enjoy one another. Let's celebrate this nation, but let's do it in a way that's safe and doesn't irresponsibly use fireworks. We don't want the legacy of this 4th of July weekend to be setting the state of Washington on fire. We owe it to our firefighters. This also happens to be a week of remembrance for firefighters lost in the line of duty. And I had the opportunity to join the governor last week in recognizing the 9 lives that were lost last year among firefighters in the state of Washington. And that included Jim Maxwell, a pilot who did contract work for the Department of Natural Resources. And we discussed that the best way to honor their legacy is to make sure those doing their jobs now are safe. And we all have a role to play in keeping this state safe. So again, the bottom line is this: as we go into this 4th of July weekend with barbecues and family and fun, it's important to be safe with our fireworks. Use them legally, safely at designated places. Make sure if you're drinking, don't play with fire. Don't be an idiot. Don't set our state on fire this weekend, and have a fun, safe 4th of July. It's my pleasure now to introduce Russ Lane, who is our wildfire division manager at the Department of Natural Resources. Russ?
Thank you, Commissioner. I am Russ Lane. I lead the DNR's Wildland Fire Management Division in our state's firefighting workforce. I wanted to say a few more words about the Week of Remembrance and National Wildland Firefighter Day. We mark the tragedy events in Idaho. In the Wildland Fire Service, we foster a culture of learning. The Week of Remembrance gives us a time to reflect on past tragedy events, honor those who fell in the line of duty, and learn lessons from those situations. The events of June 30th will become part of that learning culture. We'll honor the fallen by learning from that tragedy and use those lessons to prevent future tragedies. The Week of Remembrance peaks on July 2nd with National Wildland Firefighter Day. In Washington State, we have thousands of wildland firefighters standing ready to protect our communities and our natural resources. Those firefighters are out there right now. Some are deployed on the fire line already. Many others are in their stations ready for the call of duty. They're staffing engines, bulldozers, hand crews, aircraft, and dispatch centers. Today is their day. It's an opportunity to focus on the successes of wildland firefighters and celebrate every time they come home safely. As we move deeper into our typical Northwest fire season, there will be difficult days in the weeks to come. You can help support our wildland firefighters. With the holiday approaching, as the Commissioner noted, human-caused ignitions are a significant concern. The use of fireworks and recreation in the wildlands cause dozens of wildfires each year. Every fire that we prevent reduces the risk of exposure to our first responders. It's a privilege to represent our DNR firefighters here today. Thank you for your support and recognition of their efforts in this challenging time. And now I have the privilege of turning it over to Chief DJ Goldsmith.
Good afternoon. My name is DJ Goldsmith. I'm the fire chief right here in Kintass Valley Fire and Rescue. First and foremost, I want to thank all the wildland firefighters and firefighters here locally, throughout the state, and throughout our nation. We have folks deployed all over the state, all over the region, and to include our friends up in Canada, trying to bring these fires under control as we face a very difficult, tough time with the drought conditions that are presenting themselves this year. With that being said, I would like to talk about our partnership with the Department of Natural Resources and all of our local and state partners. Our partnership with the DNR has been a thing that has greatly reduced destruction within this county. Just recently, we had a fire just right over here, less than 10 miles, that we were able to quickly bring under control at just 50 acres. Without the assistance and the support and the partnerships that are created through our local and state partners, we were able to bring that fire to just 50 acres. The aircraft, the heavy equipment, the dozer that you see here, and the staff worked quickly to bring that under control. I'm going to echo what the Commissioner said and Mr. Lane. We're heading into a very, very busy time. We are in very drought conditions. As you could tell here, we have winds 30 miles per hour, and it's going to take just one spark to create a disaster for our community. These are costly, these are deadly, and the worst thing we would ever want to do is have to remember another wildland firefighter. So as you go into this weekend, please be safe, make sure that you are responsible, and please make sure that we are taken care of and we don't have to come put out a fire and risk our lives for your negligence. Thank you very much. Now at this time I have the honor of introducing Chief Mike Harris.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Mike Harris. I'm the fire chief in Franklin County Fire District 3 out of Pasco. But I'm also the vice president of the Washington Fire Chiefs, and I serve on the Fire Defense Committee representing the southeast region of Washington State. And so just going to, echo what Chief Goldsmith said, honoring wildland firefighters today, and using the motto of the Washington Fire Chiefs, lead, educate, and serve. We're here to lead all of our fire chiefs across the state with best practices and help support them in all hazard firefighting, as well as the wildland firefighting, whether it's the large municipal department or the small all-volunteer department in eastern Washington. Educating all of our constituents, our firefighters that serve our communities, and then more importantly serve, whether it's fire defense and help mobilizing resources across the state in a timely manner when there's a large wildland fire and we need to help our community, or serving the communities that we all have sworn in to protect. And so, thanks. And here today honoring all wildland firefighters across the state and our partners across the West, Idaho particularly, with what happened over the weekend, the tragedy with Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County, and then Oregon and Idaho as well. So we're all in it together across the West. So thanks, and appreciate your guys' time.
We're going to switch to the question and answer portion of today's festivities. There will be time at the end for breakout one-on-ones if those are a necessity, but feel free to ask your questions now, and we'll have the reciprocating VIP come to the mic. I'm seeing thumbs up, so thank you all for coming. This concludes our press conference.